FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
There's a very talented writer in the United States named Calvin Trillin, who wrote that when he's in his 60s, and he said, when I was in college, only the people who weren't very smart went into banking. And we had a pretty good run. The problem is that all these clever people went into banking, and they started to invent all these fancy products, and that's when we got into trouble. And it's kind of funny in the way that things are funny because there's a little bit of truth to them. We kind of distorted our society where the kids who went to Harvard or Stanford or the University of Chicago, the brightest of our youth, were lured to finance because the pay was so big. Way, way out of line to what you could make doing anything else, being a doctor or newspaper reporter or even an engineer. And as a result, we had lots of people who were busy inventing things that had a peculiar logic in that they made money for the company for which they worked, but they didn't really understand them in all their complexity, and they certainly didn't care about the problems they were creating if the house of cards fell down. We had a screwed up compensation system where you could get your bonus if everything fell apart 2 years later. Well, you had your bonus, and that was someone else's problem. I think the second thing is that we did in our country allow some of our financial institutions to run casinos. AIG is the most extraordinary case. AIG was a big, powerful, successful insurance company that built a casino on the side in an unregulated patch of the American financial system where they basically took a lot of bets from all the banks of the world, and they had no money to pay them off if the bets went bad. And the bets went bad. And that's 140 or 150 billion of the bailout money to AIG to pay off Deutsche Bank, Goldman Sachs, and the rest. I think that we are now in the process of trying to rewrite the rules of finance. There's more belief in the value of financial innovation still in the United States than Mr. Keating believes in the four-pillar strategy here, but there's a lot more skepticism about it now than there was, for obvious reasons. And then the other weird thing is we probably had too many banks, so they couldn't make very much money at conventional banking, so they had to do all this exotic stuff to get rich. And in Canada and Australia, fewer banks made higher profits. They made money on banking, and they didn't feel the need to build a derivative sweepstake and then lose the lottery.